us that this was the future of Milwaukee. A.O. Smith, Tower Automotive, in this building. I feel like I'm speaking for all of those people who were hurt and continue to be hurt. And I'm not just speaking for those people from A.O. Smith or Tower Automotive, but I want to speak for those people from American Motors, Continental Can, Falk, Slits, Miller, Paps, Allen Bradley, Alex Chalmers, the drop forges, the tanneries, all of those men and women like myself who now, for the most part, are silent and no one ever told their story. Lost all of our health insurance. After all of that, I think it would be less than proper if I didn't say something about that hurt.
Earl Ingram Jr. worked for A.O. Smith and Tower Automotives, who bought A.O. Smith, for 30 years. When he started, there were about 6,500 employees, of which around 40% were African Americans. Today, former factory workers like Ingram are still questioning what happened.
We thought and believed in our company, believed in the system, believed in America. And now, if you ask those same men who did the same things that I did and who now face a very uncertain future as we go into the later years of our lives, they would all ask the question, why? How can corporations who have stood as long as this one and continue to be prosperous in other parts of the world, as well as other parts of this country, be allowed to do the things that they are doing to the people who helped build them and make them who they are? The black community itself was, it was good times. You didn't have the despair that you have now. Many of these industries offered middle-class lifestyles. You worked and you made a middle-class wage, which meant that many of the young people now who wound up going on to college and are doing some different things, well, that was made possible by many of their fathers and parents who worked in these factories, made enough money to send their kids on to college and do the things that they wanted to do. And also live in neighborhoods that were conducive to raising families. At the age of 14 to 18 years old, I worked in a drugstore. There was neighborhood grocery stores, not just little small, but mom and pop grocery stores, and they employed young people. Five and dime stores. There was commerce around here. There were businesses. You name it, those businesses were inside this community, which meant young people did not have to want or long for jobs. I was raised always working because there was always a job available for me to work. Nowadays, if I had a dime for every time a young person asked me if I could help them find a job, I'd be a wealthy man. They don't exist anymore. Cleveland, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, areas that were big in industry years ago, those cities have made the change, realized that they had to redefine what they were going to be and move forward with that. Milwaukee still apparently has not made that determination on what they're going to do or what we're going to be defined by. And that really, I think, has hurt us right now, especially in the African American community, with all the crime that goes on, with 6 out of every 10 African American males unemployed. That's unconscionable. All that does is breed the conditions that we have now in our neighborhoods. People want to work. They certainly do want to work, but the work now, unlike then, where I could come out of high school with a high school diploma and work in a place like this and earn a middle-class lifestyle and send my children to college and buy a home, that does not exist anymore. Today, people are going to have secondary education. And that is, in my opinion, one of the biggest problems that we have today because of what's going on in the educational system in MPS, what they're faced with, and trying to employ people who come out, and many of them who drop out of school. I've said for the longest that I think one of the worst things that ever happened was when they took the wood shop, metal shop, mechanical drawing out of the public schools. When I was in high school, granted that was a long time ago, it was mandatory that you had those types of electives before you could even graduate, especially boys. You had to have metal shop, wood shop, mechanical drawing, and that's kind of what kind of led me into the factory. I enjoyed doing those kind of things with my hands. I wasn't a bad student. I could have went on to college and done some other things, but I enjoyed doing the thing with my hands. They need to bring more of that back and expose young people to that, because the need continues to be there. It's never going to change. You're always going to need people in those trades. So that's what I would say. Increase the amount of technical educations that we have in our public school system. And that's why it bothers me, because we got all excited and we thought that this was going to be it. And this $100 million that you see before you, that's 4 years. 4 years. And that it ended like that was the most tragic part, that it ended so soon. It was a great time. I don't want to leave anybody to believe that it wasn't. I had a tremendous time. If I had, and I've always said it, if I had to be locked into a dead-end job, this is one of the best dead-end jobs to be locked into.
Starting all over, I know it's gonna be rough. So rough.